So, Games Workshop have been mired in controversy over the last few weeks after a massive reveal by the company was met by a ton of disappointment and outrage in the Warhammer community, and all because of a previous supposed leak out of the company. And I think that Games Workshop were caught totally off guard by all the outrage that they have now generated, and it's kind of killed the hype over one of their big massive products that are now coming out. But don't feel too bad for them. I personally think they only have themselves to blame. Typical, I know. Still, this recent outrage actually reveals a lot about Warhammer and how it is changing, potentially for the worse. But to talk about that, we first have to look at the recent announcement that has caused so much consternation and examine the brand new Warhammer 40k set that was just revealed. And here it is. This is the new Kill Team Warhammer box set. And yes, it is another bundled box set. And we shouldn't really be that surprised, I guess, because these days, this is pretty much the Kill Team release method. Well, actually, it's the Games Workshop release method for every single game now, or at least the ones that they haven't arbitrarily labeled a specialist game. And how these box sets typically work is that Games Workshop crams them with new models of two disparate factions that have nothing to do with one another, then they throw in some cheap cardboard tokens, add in a sprue or two of terrain, create a little book with a campaign gimmick, label it all as a limited edition box set that won't be sold ever again, and boom! Games Workshop get a couple $100 from every single Warhammer fan that is unable to resist that desperate fear of missing out. Oh boy, an entire business model based on fear. It sounds a bit sus, but I mean, what else could Games Workshop do? Just release new teams and let people buy them separately? Oh no. That would be far too unprofitable. Games Workshop might make a couple dollars less. Unacceptable. And nevertheless, the new box set is coming, and it is called Blood and Zeal. And it's themed all about a bunch of deranged, crazy, brainwashed, bloodthirsty, lunatic cultists versus chaos. Haha, see what I did there? It was the old switcheroo. So yeah, it's two crazed cultist teams for Kill Team. And unfortunately, that is where things have started to go wrong with this box set and for Games Workshop. So let's take a look at what's actually inside. And we're gonna have to get it out of the way. You get this terrain inside the box. And yes, I will be banning it from my table. I get that this is gonna be the main attraction of this box set for a lot of people, mainly food guys, but I'm not as impressed as most seem to be about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really love the idea of this statue, but I feel like the actual execution is a bit wanting. A giant statue of a sister or a saint on top of a pile of skulls is very cool in theory, but it doesn't translate very well into hard plastic. The end result is just this very cartoony model. And frankly, I've been printing off a whole ton of insanely detailed terrain using my bamboo lab printer in like no time at all lately, so I genuinely don't think I'll ever buy any terrain ever again, especially not from Games Workshop and their crazy prices. There is an affiliate link for 3D printers down below, by the way, just FYI. Nevertheless though, I must obey the market, and obviously many fetishists really love this statue because it is very expensive on eBay. See, this thing came out a while ago before in a different box set and then was out of print for a while, and now it's selling for prices like this on eBay. And yeah, you could actually pay for a full 3D printer instead of buying this thing, so that's what I recommend. Clearly though, there is demand for barefoot giantess statues out there in Warhammer, so I'm glad the Games Workshop are printing this one again. Hopefully it brings down prices a little. One cool thing about this terrain though is the Games Workshop have suggested how you can kit bash it to be all chaosy, and apparently they've actually included a guide as to how to kit bash it in the book that comes in this box set, which is really cool. It's always nice to see Games Workshop talk about some of the harder parts of this hobby, actually provide guides for stuff, so they get a little star, ping, from me for doing that. Well done, Games Workshop. Unfortunately though, that's where all the sunshine and roses and indeed gold stars end. From here on out, it's about to get a lot shakier. Thankfully not as shaky as Port Royal during the Great Jamaican Earthquake of 1692, a time that was terrible for the thieves, brigands, pirates and ne'er-do-wells that made their home in that city described as the wickedest in the world. But their loss is your treasure, because the sponsor sponsors of today's video, Firelock Games, have recently released Port Royal, a unique campaign-based tactical small-scale warband-sized skirmish wargame that is easy and fast to learn and play. In Port Royal, you'll take control of pirates, privateers, Native Americans, and more to do battle for delicious plunder among the ruins of Jamaica, all taking place on your kitchen table, and it's now available to buy. If you've ever wanted to try a game like Mordheim where you get to choose a faction, create a company, customize your force, and then battle for treasure, risking injury and permanent death, all for that sweet taste of victory, then Port Royal should be your first port of call. Plus, there's even a solo mode with a fully simulated AI opponent that can be played in single one-off games or as part of a fully soloable and cooperative campaign. So don't delay, click my link below or use the code DiscourseMinis to get 15% off everything on the Firelock Games store, including the fantastic new starter set for Port Royal. It comes with terrain, tokens, accessories, dice, rulebook, and of course, character models for you to build your forces with. Check it out to find out why pirates are so desperate for all that treasure, and it's because they just are. And thanks to Firelock Games for sponsoring today's video. So, okay, we've got the two new kill teams inside this box, and that is a huge problem because one of the teams in here is really fucking cool, and the other team is really not? Yeah. So on the one hand, you have this team. These are the Sanctifiers, aka the little guys that always seem to pop up in the background of all my favorite Warhammer 40k art in the 90s. This is an ecclesiarchy-based team, so they're very religious, very weird, and very forceful when it comes to ecumenical matters. And I gotta say, most of the models here look very cool. I love the Confessor, who literally does appear in the famous Blanche Sister of Battle artwork. I also love the Salvationist and his man in the pallid mask vibe. He just oozes mystery. But perhaps my favorite has to be the Miraculist, who is just the final scene of Saint Maud, and I kind of love it for that. The missionaries in this team, they look okay. Same with all the little abbots and priests, you know, they're a little bit boring, but they're appropriate to the team. The Cherub is definitely very weird though. I've been playing Witch Hunters and Sisters of Battle for like 20 years now, and I'm still not really sure what the hell these little baby boys are. Though honestly, this one looks a lot less like little baby Cherub and more like Frank Reynolds. There is a massive, major disappointment in this team though, for me at least, and it is the Death Cult Assassin. So for context, all the artwork for Death Cult Assassins in the past have looked like this. Typically BDSM, sexy girls with blades for fingers. Very weird, very sexualized, very bizarre, and off-putting. And I'm really down for that. I like that. And in this team, we finally get to see a male Death Cult Assassin for the very first time. They've always been female before. So what does this revolutionary new sculpt look like? Well, it looks like this, and it's so disappointing. It's more Assassin's Creed than Underworld 1, and honestly, I hate it. I hate this so much. He should not look like this. He shouldn't have his hood down like this. He shouldn't look so nyeh. Instead, he should have a sexy corset, a bulging crotch, a Nightwing ass, and blades everywhere. I mean, where are my BDSM death fingers here? So this is a huge mess, and I'm literally gonna headcanon this model out of existence. Poof, it's gone. I wonder what the guy versions of Death Cult Assassins look like. I suppose I'll never know. But overall, okay, I do love this team. I think they're great. These are one of the few teams that I'm actually kind of convinced to buy, so I'll probably be waiting an indefinite amount of time for them to be released, separate from this bundle, and be picking them up then, whenever that is, if I remember. And my hype hasn't died by that time. Yeah, I kind of hate this business model. Have I ever mentioned this before? No, that is all the good stuff. It unfortunately gets bad now because the other team is really showing the cracks in the Warhammer IP. And here's what I mean. So the other team are these guys. This is the Khorne Gormongers. They're basically the Khorne normal guys, like the Jackals from the World Eater faction, except they're just a little bit cooler, it must be said. Now, the background for these guys is neat. I do like it. They basically witnessed a bloodletter demon at work and they lived to tell the tale. and as a result, they've kind of ingested a whole ton of crack and cut their legs off like in Star Fox 64, which genuinely, distressingly, reminds me of some people that I've known in the past. What can I say? Ireland can be a very colourful place sometimes.
Give me your money or I'll inject you with AIDS.
And so the robot legs they sport are fun. I do like them. I like how they look, like corn bloodletter legs. Pretty cool. But overall, I think this team is just fine. I like their Blood Herald, he's their leader guy, but overall, they're just extremely one note. And in fact, even worse, there's a ton of assets in here that I feel like I've seen 1,000 times before. Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of these guys trying to replicate how bloodletters look, but I feel like I've seen this skull in particular dozens of times on other models before. I've seen these chains certainly over and over, and these same dick tassels have appeared on dozens of Space Marines. They're even armed with identical weapons to the Jackals. This is a lot of reuse of assets to make extremely similar thematic things. I guess there is one difference. This guy has a gun? Yeah, very, very different. With this new team, it feels like the designers have come back to a well that they have dipped into lots and lots and lots of times in the past. I mean, say what you want about the Sanctified team, and even though those sculpts were playing with similar themes and vibes that we get in the Sisters of Battle or even past Imperial Cult models, there's some new designs in that team that feel very fresh, but that's not so true with the Gormongers. But that's not even the real controversy with this box. I kind of wish it was. Instead, the Warhammer community are extremely upset with both teams, and this box is therefore getting a lot of hate online right now. And you know me, people, if I see someone bullying a multi-million-dollar corporation with more money than the Beverly Hillbillies, then I must rush to their defense. Wait, no, that's not me at all. Get the boot in, boys! Still, I have to say, the controversy here has really deafened out a lot of the typical excitement that the community have for these kinds of boxes. So why? What's going on? What's happening? Well, there's been a few elements to this controversy. The first is that people's expectations have kind of been shattered by the reveal of the box. You see, there had been rumors swirling around this box since way before its reveal, and people had gotten very hyped up about what they had imagined it was going to contain. And what they imagined was not this. Rather, an online rumor and leak had been going around the community for a while that this upcoming box set called Blood and Zeal would actually be a box not of cultists v cultists, but of Grey Knights versus World Eaters in a power armor extravaganza as the OP monsters face off in an epic battle of death. So, you know, to instead get Dave and some of his mad mates was pretty disappointing to a lot of people. And yeah, obviously, live by the leaks, die by the leaks. Rumors are rumors and not to be trusted. But to be fair to those that believe these rumors, it was not outside the realms of possibility that this box set would be Grey Knights versus World Eaters. I mean, after all, there is currently a missing Grey Knights kill team right now. And of course, for that to be true, you're gonna have to assume every single Warhammer 40k faction is owed a kill team, and Games Workshop will work their way down the list eventually, presumably with Tyranids being at the very end, because where the heck are the Tyranid kill team? Like, seriously, where are they? It's kind of weird that they don't have one. And it's not crazy to think that Games Workshop are in fact doing that they're working down through the different Warhammer factions, because Games Workshop have been using kill team to squeeze out updates to factions that aren't getting big army bundle boxes or big army refreshes in Warhammer 40k proper. Over the last few years, we've seen kill teams of things like Mandrakes, Striking Scorpions, Space Marine Scouts, Vespids, Hell, Kazarkin, all, let's be honest, primarily Warhammer 40k units that have been created for kill team, but not really. I mean, they're really being made to sell for Warhammer 40k. And as evidence, look at the teams. Hell, the Striking Scorpions and even the Mandrakes, they don't have any variation in their units whatsoever. These are not teams designed with different roles and positions for a skirmish game. They're just squads of identical guys with swords that slot way more comfortably into an army-based game like Warhammer 40k. And don't get me wrong, having cross-compatibility between games like 40k and Kill Team for the same model range is very cool. But using Kill Team, which is a different game by the way, to secretly fart out Warhammer 40k kits has caused big problems for Kill Team players, because now, as in this instance, there is a huge Warhammer 40k community who have become inadvertent legitimately invested in kill team releases, and they will get upset if there is a new kill team that's not super relevant for their Warhammer 40k armies or games. Case in point, this new box. People are outraged the Games Workshop had the temerity to not release new World Eater Power Armor models because that's apparently what the faction needs. And after all, World Eaters already have cultists in Warhammer 40k in the form of jackals. So why do the Gormongers exist, Games Workshop? Why have they been created? There's so many more other types of models that World Eaters need. Well, the obvious answer is jackals aren't in kill team. World Eaters don't have a kill team, but the Gormongers, they're not in kill team. They are a kill team. So why are people getting outraged? Well, it's compounded by the fact that both Grey Knights and World Eaters could use some new models, and kill team is a vector by which they could get new models. So don't 40k players have a bit of a point in being disappointed in this new box? I mean, shouldn't consumers expect a certain release style to continue? There has been a precedent set by Games Workshop. And yeah, sure, the Sanctifiers and the Gormongers in this box can be useful in 40k, presumably, but they're just not what 40k players want. 40k players wanted teams that would fill in the gaps for their armies. And honestly, what they really wanted was power armor. That's what they really wanted in this box set. And that is where a real problem lies, because power armor doesn't really work in kill team. Kill team is all about lower level commandos facing off in smaller conflicts around stealthy infiltration. No offense to Space Marine fans, but I have to imagine it's very hard to infiltrate anywhere if you can't fit through a standard door. Seriously, this guy is not stealthy. I don't believe you. Just like I didn't believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger was just an average guy in Jingle All the Way. He was Turbo Man. That's just the reality. But again, this is not an expectation that has just originated in the community. Games Workshop are to blame for this. They created the expectation for 40k players to expect relevant new units like Kazarkin and Striking Scorpions in kill team box sets. And the reason is because Games Workshop have utilized it to create a secret price increase for what would otherwise be Warhammer 40k miniature kits. Oh yes, Striking Scorpions, definitely a kill team set. Now we can sell them for £47.50. That's way more than we could have sold them for otherwise. And also, it's a crazy price. It's close to the price of most starter sets for other skirmish games. But of course, Games Workshop justify this by arguing that one, you're only ever going to need to buy one box of Striking Scorpions for kill team, and they need to get their pound of flesh somehow, ignoring the fact that you'll probably buy 3 for Warhammer 40k because that's what they're actually made for. And two, there's some cardboard tokens thrown into the box for kill team too. Cardboard, notoriously extremely expensive. Wait, no, cardboard isn't very expensive, nor is the plastic that these miniatures are made out of. This is all extremely overpriced, and it just feels so cynical of Games Workshop to just create Warhammer 40k models, put them in kill team boxes, and sell them for skirmish game prices. But they're getting away with it currently. Nevertheless though, that's not even the worst thing to come out of all of this. This release has also revealed a deeper, more fundamental and long-term problem for Warhammer 40k right now, and that's namely that the advertising, marketing, and media of the game over the last few years has apparently fundamentally broken people's brains. Because I've seen more than one person make the argument lately that the new Sanctifier kill team doesn't feel like Warhammer 40k, mostly because they don't have power armor. And I'm just gonna be brutally honest here, the Sanctifier team that was revealed last week is like the most Warhammer 40k team that I have ever seen. This team literally features in Blanche art, and honestly, it could stand to be just a little bit weirder, but the fact that they don't have power armor is not their problem. Still, this has really worried me about the casual market going forward and new people getting into Warhammer 40k, because what the hell do they think that Warhammer 40k is about? How is it that Games Workshop are advertising Warhammer 40k to people and they're not picking up the actual themes of Warhammer 40k? What are they showing the newer people to these games? Oh yeah, I guess that's it, isn't it? Yeah, this is why Sisters of Battle should be the poster boys, girls of Warhammer 40k. We need more children's stories about penitent engines. But I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch here. What do you think? Oh, and by the way, I'll be at Scotland's premier role-playing convention, Compulsion, next month on April 12th. So get your tickets now in the link below, and please also check out my Patreon to help support me advocate for war game consumers, and also help me keep the videos coming. because it's only due to your support that I can keep doing this, especially considering that YouTube keeps demonetizing my content. You'll get access to bonus videos, streams, and a great hobby community on Discord, and a massive thanks to my patrons, especially CryptoKev, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.